to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday, and I have a very special episode today with one of our sponsors. We're featuring Article.com today, and I'm happy to introduce you to Jillian Cross. Hi Jillian, how are you?
Hi, Luann.
So Jillian is the trade program manager at Article.com. And guys, listen to me. You have been listening to my little sponsor spots for Article.com for the last month because I know none of you are fast forwarding through any of my sponsor commercials, right? Like nobody does that. That would be not a good thing, okay? So since I know that you have not been fast forwarding through the Article.com commercials on my show, I know that you know among everything that is nice and good and upstanding about Article.com, you know that one of the things that I always hammer in on is that their trade program is run by industry people. And I feel like when I first was, introduced to Article.com and started to learn about their program, that was the thing that stuck out to me. There are many things, okay, because, I don't just take anybody as a sponsor, just saying, but there were many things, but that was the thing. And so here we are, Jillian Cross. Jillian is there, as I said, trade program manager. And Jillian, you just go ahead and tell them your experience in the industry and prove my point right here.
Yeah, it's been a pretty awesome ride so far. I've been with the company for about 1.5 years, and I came on with 9 years of industry experience, born and raised in a construction and development family, so it's just in my blood. I live and breathe it. I'm so passionate about it. I have a Bachelor's of Interior Design and Project Management degree. And I've worked, aside from working with Article prior to, I worked in the industry at a couple firms and with some big box retailers as well, trying to help them build out their trade programs and their pro programs. And then I did millwork design for a number of years. And then I worked in the family business and went that route and got to experience residential and multi-unit design, which was really exciting for me. And yeah, it's been an amazing ride in this industry, and I look forward to continuing to grow within it.
So this is what I love. It's just what you guys told me was the truth about your company. But tell us why. I mean, so here you are. You're an interior designer. You are educated in design and project management. And now you are working with Article.com. And what does that do when an interior designer listening to the show today thinks about an interaction with your company? Why do you think that enhances that interaction and makes it, what do you think it does? What is your deal on that? Why are you guys committed to that? I guess that's really the question.
Yeah, I've really taken a stance as we build the program out that the people on the team have a strong understanding of the people that they're talking to. It's one thing to have, remarkable customer service and a really strong footing in product knowledge. That's so important. But that's all great. But if you don't understand who you're talking to and why, when they call and they say, I have a deadline in 2 days, and if I don't get this product here in 2 days, I'm going to lose it.
Right.
Right? Like we understand and we relate. right? We get if you don't have your product there in 2 days, you have trades on site, or you have photographers on site, or you have occupancy deadlines. All those things would affect that person's bottom line. And all that we want to do with the program is be a resource, be helpful, and allow them to do their job, that aspect of their job as effortlessly, as possible.
Well, see, and I love the way you just said that. You hit on 3 legitimate pain points that truly express that you do get it. When you said you have occupancy deadlines, you have other trades that have to come in and do things before or after you, or you have a photography session set up. I mean, those are legitimate things that only another interior designer could really construe as an emergency. The rest of the world is like, I'm sorry, the photographer schedule? Tell me what part of that is a catastrophe. You know what I mean? Like, but we get it, right? We get it. And so I love that you guys have that as part of your culture, that you are committed to staffing your trade program, the team there with people who understand it. And that doesn't mean that people can be unreasonable, and that doesn't mean that you can always pull a rabbit out of the hat, but it does mean that you understand why somebody is anxious on the other side of the phone, right? That's really what it is. And that you really do understand that you could really make somebody's day if you could make something happen, right?
Yeah, and when I say we get it, like, we wholeheartedly get it. I often say to the team, right, like, this problem is now our problem. So, and like, we take it on almost like it's our project, and that we're the ones that are going to be on site waiting for the articles to show up. So we're not receiving the feedback or the ETAs or the project specs or constraints and just thinking, okay, like, we'll do the best we can. Right? Like, we take that information really seriously. And like I say, we really hold on to it. Like, these projects are our projects. And if we were on site and we had an ETA or, required product to be on site for a certain time, how would we feel if it didn't show up?
Right.
And what would we expect from a supplier to get that product there, or have conflict resolution should something go wrong? Obviously, the goal at Article is to always provide a remarkably better experience, but in some cases, because we are human, there is flubs. And where we really take a stand is, if there is a flub or a mistake or a delay, we are on it to make sure it gets resolved as quickly and as effectively as possible, so it's not affecting the end customer, who's our trade partner.
I think it's admirable, and I love it, actually. And the thing is, there's a couple of things that occur to me. Number one, you're a relatively young company, 7 years in business here, and it's at this point your trade team is a small team, which is a plus. Okay, so I understand that your trade team that handles all of the designer accounts that you have is 5 or 6 members. Now, I understand growth is projected in 2019. You expect to double that, but to me, there's a good in that. That means that probably if I'm a designer that is at least interacting with you on a somewhat regular basis, requesting quotes or requesting samples, or even possibly at the point where I have confidence in your product and your services and I'm placing orders, you probably know who I am, right? Somebody on your team is probably like, oh, that's Luann calling from New Jersey, right?
Definitely. One of the key things that I really communicate to the team, and especially as we're growing, obviously the industry background and industry knowledge is so important, just from like a relatable level, right? So like I said earlier, understanding who we're talking to. But the other piece of that is relationship building. it's one thing to place an order and say thank you and have a good day. It's another thing to genuinely care. Hey, how did your project go? And it's not a follow-up from a sales perspective. It's a follow-up from a human perspective. The team is invested in the program and invested in our program members. And we really want them to feel like we're an extension for them to use. And we're there to be an asset to them. And with that comes relationship building. We should know what projects they have on the go and what stuff is up and coming. And hey, did you know that we're releasing this product in 2 weeks? And don't you think it would be an awesome fit for this build out that you're working on? So really, really understanding the customer and really taking the time to get to know them is really valuable and something that we really stress with the team as we grow.
Yeah, I think I love it. I love the concept of it. I love the personal attention. I love the ability to have interaction with people that know and remember you when you call. Because like you said, when you mentioned, I don't know if it was before or after we started recording, but we talked about that it's possible for any one company to have an excellent, well-trained customer service bank of operators, order takers, whatever you want to call them, right? So it's possible to not just have entry level people who are phoning it in, but to have professionals that do it as a living and take pride in it. But this is an extra level. This is an extra layer of service that you provide by making sure that these people have that customer service training and quality, but also have the industry experience and understand what it means when a project needs to happen, or just how, like you said, the ability to say, I know you're working on this project because I've been working with you on it, and guess what's coming out in 2 weeks. So that's a pretty good thing. It's not, whereas a well-trained, excellent customer service representative probably wouldn't could care less if the new chair coming out fits in the decor. They wouldn't know, right?
Exactly.
No idea, whatever.
Okay. A really good way that I kind of communicate it to the team is when you think about some of these really amazing mom and pop kind of stores. And I know this from my own experience in the industry. You go into these stores and there's a face, and you get to know the people that are working in the stores, even if they are big box retailers. You create and develop somewhat of a camaraderie, right? They see you in there every week sourcing, and they start to communicate with you about what stuff you're working on. And as an e-commerce company and as an online retailer, how can we create a similar experience for our trade partners? No, we're not face-to-face, and no, we don't have a brick and mortar, but the interaction and the communication needs to be there. And that's what we really strive to do. Create those relationships where it feels like you've met us and it feels like you've walked into our store a million times. So that's something that we really strive to do with the program. And it's been a focus and a cornerstone to the growth of the program so far.
Very good. Very good. I love it. I think it's awesome. Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about that aspect of it. The fact that it is not only that it is an online commerce site. There are no showrooms. There's no place that, you can't go to High Point and sit on the furniture and say, hey, that's really comfortable. Let me go back and specify it for a project. What are some of the things that you find within that are positives and negatives of that?
It depends on how you look at it. I would say a really cool positive is when we get a new partner who maybe hasn't experienced our product before, and they might be a little bit nervous, right? Or, for lack of a better word, untrusting. They've never really sourced product just online before. But
they're skeptical, right? They're like,
they're skeptical.
Wow, what if this is I can't, I'm not going to use names.
Totally.
Say, what is it?
But they've taken the time and they've done their homework, and they've seen we have an amazing track record and we have great reviews, and so they decide to take the leap. And my favorite piece of feedback is, wow, I wasn't expecting this.
Oh.
And what great value this is for the price. And hold on, I'm going to place another order. And then they become repeat customers. By us not having these huge overheads of the brick and mortars, what it allows us to do is continue to grow out our product catalog and make sure that we really are taking the time to find product that is superior, and that we're able to offer at like a really competitive price, and not just to our trades, but to our consumers as well. It's a focus of the company, and I think that's why we've been so successful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So a couple things in there, though. So number one is that you mentioned that you're consumer facing as well. So the designer to the trade program is a sliding scale of 5 to 15% off of the website pricing. Is that correct?
You got it. Yeah, it's off retail.
Off of retail. So I know a lot of designers just went, what? I'm used to getting 30. I'm used to getting 40%. Like, that's ridiculous. Luann, what are you doing? Okay. So tell us a little bit about the way the discount structure is set up and how come it's that way.
Sure. So, we do get met with that response, here and there. It kind of depends on the person. With that, though, what I always really stress to our trade partners is please look at the bottom line. 90% of the time, our price point is lower than a lot of these big market competitors. It's a perception piece because the business model of Article, our price points are already really competitive. And we do that so that we're offering great value to our consumers as well. So what it doesn't allow for is huge discounts every day for like our trade partners. So that is why the discount tiers are there. They do start at 5 and it goes up to 15%. It's order dependent. And if there is ever any question about value in there or why is my discount only 5% on this order, like I say, I really stress, please look at the bottom line because we are very, very competitive in our space, if not better value.
So when you say you're very competitive in the space, first of all, we didn't start the program by expressing that your whole product line is a mid-century Scandinavian sort of slant or aesthetic on products, right? Number one, right? So when you say that compare the bottom line and you're very competitive, you don't mean that the net price of 5% off retail is competitive to a brick and mortar furniture store's 5% off retail. You mean it's competitive to their 20 or 30 or 40% that you would be getting. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is a perception piece, and I get it. I definitely get it coming from the industry myself. I'm used to seeing from certain brick and mortars 30% off or 25% off discount, and that's great. But if the bottom line is still X dollars and our bottom line is under that X dollar amount, that's why I really stress that we are very competitive in our market. So no, we don't offer a 30% discount every day, but what we do offer is remarkable value every day across the board.
Right. And the thing is that given that a designer were to do their homework and discover and find out that the quality is the same, and then the pricing bottom line is also very similar, then it is really just that spin doctor in your head telling you, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. Okay. I'm going to ask a tricky question on that. Okay. Sure. I'm going to ask a tricky question. We may have to edit it. So here's the one thing I can hear one of our designer friends saying, right, Luann, but if I go to again, we're going to make an assumption that we're sticking in the same aesthetic, Scandinavian mid-century. If I go to a furniture line that does have the brick and mortar operation, whether that means that they have whatever, right? And I get 25% off. When I sell it at retail to the client, I'm grabbing 25% off. Whereas if I'm taking the article, maybe the net pricing is very similar, but if I mark it up 25%, now my client is looking at me like you're charging me more than the website. So how do we work around that?
So that is a pain point for us, full transparency.
Okay.
That's feedback that we have received from some of the interior designers in the program. It's a pain point that we really understand, and we are working at combating it. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I just so you know and your listeners know, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah.
We're not ignoring you, but we need to figure out a model that's going to be beneficial for us and for the customer. We can't sacrifice quality in order to be able to provide a steeper discount. We also don't want to get into like pricing wars or anything like that. So we're really taking the time, listening to the feedback that we're getting from our amazing partners, and we are looking at ways to further support them, because like I say, I fully hear you, and I definitely understand that could be a pain point.
Well, and the thing is, I can tell you this, that there are other ways to bring value than just dollar bills. So I think it's awesome that when I asked you that question, you didn't say, yeah, let's edit. Number one. And number two, that you're not shying away. You're not saying, yeah, we don't have an answer, forget it. You're working on it. You're figuring something out. But I would just say to you that money isn't everything. There are other ways to bring value. And so, continue to figure it out. And maybe if you listening are an article.com trade member, trade partner, maybe you have ideas on things that they can do. Because I see your dilemma. You don't want to raise your retail price because that's your niche there, being competitive, ultra competitive to the retail price. You want to encourage the designer trade program because it's a good program and it's a good product line, so why not? But we have this disconnect the way the industry typically works. You're sort of outside the industry model, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to combat that, right, if all you're worried about, right, is just that one point and that's the only focus on, right, again, we hear you and we understand that. But at the same time, by working with us specifically, we're hoping, and our goal is, no, you might not get a 20% discount, but you can get same day shipping, or you can do second day warehouse pickup, or you can get product in, a week turnaround time for a full build out.
Right.
Right. So we're
that's
trying.
What I'm saying. There's ways to bring value that don't necessarily have to be connected to because that's value, right? That when I'm saying not connected to money, but the fact is if somebody has an opportunity to do a project, but let's just take, a high-powered male business executive who says,
Sure,
I need this place decorated, designed, furnished in 2 weeks flat. Well, you know what? So maybe you don't making the markup on the article.com, the difference there, but you charge him the rush fee for making you do everything in a minute and a half, and he pays an extra $2,000 to do it on top of your fees. Like, I can do that, but here's your fee for me stopping my wheels and doing your project. So there are, that's what I meant. There's always something else that you can do for somebody when you are motivated to figure out something you could do for them. So that's nice that you guys are considering those things.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now, the other part of being online only is the see, feel, touch, sit, test. How do you answer that for designers?
Yeah, so we actually, I think I told you this prior to the interview, we actually just finished a beautiful atrium space in our HQ. So I really welcome anybody that's in our area or local designers to Vancouver, BC, to reach out. We would absolutely love to show you and tour you and have you come in here. If you're not able to get out here, which is not feasible for everybody, and it's not our model, to be honest. We have a really great swatch program, so we definitely call to that frequently. So if ever any fabric or color choice was ever in question, we can same day courier swatches. So if you're in the US market, we can actually overnight swatches. It's 2-day courier for Canadian customers, and we can get you those swatches really quickly so that you can, spec your projects and have confidence in the options that you've selected. Other than that, another option is we offer samples. So if you need a sample or you're speccing a larger project and you don't want to make the commitment without doing a sit test or having the product approved in person, we can definitely send a sample out. We charge just for the sample. There's no shipping charge, and should the product not be a good fit, there's no return shipping fee or additional costs in any way, and it would just be a straight refund. Or should you want to keep it, which is always our goal, we would just take that product right off your spec or right, deduct it from the overall order. So that's a really great option. Lastly,
go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, lastly, we have a really fantastic return exchange policy. So if you decide to take the jump, even though you're unsure, and you get the product out to site and you find out, it's not what I'm after, you have 30 days. Keep the original packaging, and it's a $49 return shipping fee. If you want to swap it out for a different color or a different model, it's free exchange. So no cost to you. Again, keep the original box if possible. Box it up. We'll come pick it up, bring out another item for you, and it'll cost you $0.
Okay, so I remember that in the conversation with Duncan, which need to let everybody know. We also had episode 301 with Duncan Blair, who's from Article, and we talked a lot about the program there. And so far, we have not really overlapped a lot of things from that program. So it's worthwhile listening to both. But this part, this return policy, I did pick it apart. I'm going to pick it apart again. Okay.
Sure.
However, first I want to ask about the sample policy. So when I understand you're going to send samples of fabrics, of swatches of the different sofas and everything, what about the wood, the arms, the legs? Are there samples for the wood options as well, Jillian?
No, we don't have case goods samples yet. It is something that I am striving to get done specifically for our trade partners. So it's on our radar, it's on the goal list, but it's just not, hasn't come to fruition quite yet.
Okay, so that would be, that seems like to me that would be a great benefit to the trade program. And even if, that's the sort of thing that maybe you don't offer that to the general public, but you offer it to the trade, right? That you could say, okay, so I love that. The other thing that you mentioned about the sampling program was that you mentioned, it sounded like you said a piece. So for instance, I took it to mean I could have a sample chair, and you're not going to charge me shipping. You're not going to charge me restocking if we get the chair and we don't like it. But Jillian, is that just for, say, maybe a commercial designer that's potentially going to order 40 or 50 or 100 chairs from you? Or is that go for even just the designer that's thinking about 6 chairs around a dining room set, and the client wants to sit in it because their husband's 6 foot 100 and he doesn't like every chair he sits in?
Sure. So anytime a trade is looking to spec multiples of items, whether it be 6 or it be 600, and they just are unsure and they want a sample, we would never say no to a sample request. Again, the sample does need to be paid in full, but the advantage is that you're not having to pay a return shipping fee or anything, or a restock fee, which we don't have anyways, but anything like that in lieu of that it's a sample, and that you just want to try it out and make sure it's going to be a right fit before you order 5 or 500 more of them. Okay, so that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. I love that. So now, but that leads into the return policy, because depending on, I don't need 6 dining room tables, I need 1. So what happens? I select the dining room table, I present it to my client, she loves it, I've never seen it in person, it gets there and I don't love it.
walk us through that return. First of all, walk us through the delivery. Is this a designer needs to have a receiver and it goes to a receiving place and then they're paying white glove delivery separately to their client's place like they would if they were receiving from many of these other trade showrooms that they order from? Or how does that work for you guys?
Yeah, so we have 3 tiers of delivery service. All of them are flat rate. So we have $49 to door shipping, and that's kind of the go-to. That's our standard delivery service. A lot of procurement or purchasing teams use that option, or larger firms where the product is literally just getting dropped to a warehouse. Right? They don't need it brought in. They don't need white glove. So it's definitely the best option there. And to further answer that question, we 100% can deliver it anywhere in North America. So if you need the product delivered right to site, we can do that. If you need product delivered to a warehouse or a holding facility, we can do that. Okay. The other 2 tiers of delivery is in room. That's $99. So the product will get brought into whatever room you need it to be in, whether it's on the 2nd floor or the 100th floor of your building. And then the last tier is white glove. So it's $169. They'll come in, they'll assemble the product, and on request, they can actually do cardboard and garbage removal. So the cardboard garbage removal is not standard in the white glove. Oftentimes they'll leave the boxes, especially if a consumer or trade is unsure. We request keep the boxes because you'll need them for your return. But if you're sure on the product, and it's already been signed off on and you want that garbage out of there, if you let the trade team know, we'll flag it with your final mile carrier, your delivery agent, and they will make sure that that site is spick and span before they leave.
At no charge additional in that $169.
No additional cost.
Okay. Nope. Okay, so to review, for $49, now, is this per piece or per order?
It's per order, so it's all flat rate shipping.
Okay, so if I order 6 dining room chairs and 1 dining room table, it's $49. If I order 1 chair, it's $49. If I order 50 chairs, it's $49.
Yeah, if you got it.
No way. Like
flat
even
rate.
50 chairs is $49. That's insanity. Okay, that's crazy. I can't get window treatments, draperies delivered for $49 just shipping. I'm just going to say. Okay, I'm not joking either. Draperies in a box come to me for $100. Okay. Yeah. So, but for $49, it is delivered to the door, like the way Amazon drops it off at your front door. It. That's it. Yep. Okay, I like it. Okay. And like you said, there are many situations where that's completely appropriate and not a big deal. But the next level is $99, which means that the box is brought to the room, but it's not unboxed. But if it's on the 50th floor of a penthouse apartment or it's on the 3rd floor in a single family home, it gets carried into the house to the room.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. And then the $169 is the assembly and the option for having cardboard. And again, what if I'm just going to make you crazy here. So what if I order a living room sofa, a coffee table, a dining room set, and table and chairs? That's 2 rooms. Does the and I order them all at the same time. They're all getting delivered. Is that $299 or is that $199?
It's just the one charge. So flat rate means flat rate. Okay. So there's at any point, if your order, like I say, was 1 chair or 20 chairs, it covers all of those bases.
That's why you can't give big discounts. I'm going to tell you right now, because you're not making enough money on these other things.
That's right.
I mean, honestly. Okay. I mean, this is huge. You know what I'm saying? This is huge. Receivership fees, delivery fees, white glove services, the shipping fees themselves. These are expenses, huge expenses in an interior design project. And you are eliminating a lot of this. That's pretty amazing, truthfully. So, okay. And so now let's talk about getting it back to you. So I have looked at Mrs. Client and I said, I really think that this dining room chairs is fabulous fabulous for you. And I don't even, maybe we do order one chair. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I get the whole darn set in the house. And either me or Mrs. Client says, whoa, that wood so looks horrible in here. That's not the color we thought it was, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to go back and say I only did the $49 to the door, but now I need it to leave and go back. How do we do that?
So we always recommend, if you're not 100% sure, please keep your boxes.
Okay.
So assuming that you've kept your boxes, basically just package your, if you actually got inside an assembly, you don't even need to package the item up, because that would be included on your return. They would actually come back and box everything up for you. If you did originally opt in for the white glove service, let's say you didn't and you just did standard delivery. Again, you would take your article, package it back up into its original box. You would shoot the trade team an email or call us and say, hey, right, this isn't working. We're going to try to recommend an alternative product for you. Because would be easier for you, right?
Yes.
To just reselect than have to go source all over again.
Yep.
So we always start there. If it's just not an option for whatever reason, then we would set up a return. If it's a FedExable item, we actually just send you FedEx labels. You take the FedEx label, put it on the item, leave it essentially by your door, and then we schedule FedEx to come pick the item up, and it's just a return shipping fee of $49. If it's not a FedExable item, same thing, you just put the product back in the box. We schedule a pickup with your local delivery agent. They would call you to confirm the pickup appointment, and then they would pick up the product, take it back to the warehouse once it's received, and it was ticked off essentially as a return pickup. You would get your full refund back. And again, it's just the $49 return shipping fee as well. So the return shipping fee is flat rate, $49 on any return.
Okay. And there's no restocking fee?
There's no restocking fee, no.
Okay. So you really do make it easy to do business with you is what I'm saying. Okay. And by the way, for me, I'd be doing the 169 every time, no matter what. Like, seriously, like that's, you're telling me that if I get it there, if I've paid 169 and I get it there and my client or I don't like it, I just call you or email you and the person is actually going to come and put it all back in the box and take it away. Like, I don't have to touch it.
Exactly.
Yeah, nope, that's crazy.
You don't have to do anything. Again, assuming you paid for the 169 white glove service. Yeah, it's totally taken care of. Yeah. The other thing that I'll stress is, should the return not need to happen and we were able to find you an alternative piece, exchanges are 100% complimentary. So there's no exchange fee. There's no restock fee. It's literally a matter of putting your original purchase back in the box. You reselect. We come back out with the new item or the reselected item, and we just swap them.
Whoa.
And it doesn't cost any additional.
But if the second item is more expensive, I got to believe you pay the difference.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's a price difference or discrepancy in the product itself, then yes. But say if they're the same price, then it's literally no difference. It's just a straight swap, no additional charges required.
This is beyond me. I remember being surprised at these things when I interviewed Duncan too. I'm like, what? That's crazy. Okay, so the other thing is that there are different fabric selections available within and across the different product lines. But the point is, there is no COM fabric.
No, we don't do COM for any of our products. I have brought it up before. It's just not something that we see ourselves doing at the moment.
Well, because you couldn't have all of these policies then. That's what I'm saying. Well, there's no way that there's a COM program attached to this, because how could you take it back in and just say there's no fee or no charge, right? Yeah.
I actually have a funny story about this. I had this amazing designer, and she fell in love with one of our chairs, and was speccing them for a restaurant. And all the banquettes in the restaurant, right, were custom done and had this beautiful fabric on them. And she said, is there any way, like, please, please, is there any way I can do COM on these chairs? And we said, right, we wish that we could, right. But unfortunately, we're just like not set up to do it. But the chairs themselves are beautiful and blah, blah, blah. And we said, let us send you a quote anyways. We send her a quote and she goes, oh, these chairs are so well priced. I can buy these chairs, take them to an upholsterer, get them to reupholster them myself. And I'm still saving money on the project done. I just thought that was fantastic.
I knew as soon as you said that, I knew that's what you were going to say.
There's always a workaround.
That's it. That's right. So that's pretty awesome. I have to say that's, these are the types of things a few moments ago when I said that sometimes there are things that you can offer a trade, a designer, or a designer can offer a consumer in lieu of, money, right? These are valuable things. I mean, who can ship a dining room set and 7 chairs or 6 chairs for $169 with white glove? That's insanity.
And depending on your market, within a week.
Right. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. And I love that, the thing is that it's built in. It sounds very... what would it take? It would take a designer interested in your program 2 or 3 or 4 orders to feel that confidence in specifying the product and to understand the level of quality that they can expect. So maybe, like you said in the part of the conversation earlier, where you're just a little skeptical, you're a little untrusting was the word. You're a little like, I don't know about this. But you order a chair, you like it, you're good. You order another, you order a table, you like, maybe that table not so much, send it back, this table better. Like, you figure out your what you like within it, and how long could it take you to really understand what your go-to pieces are? It couldn't take, and there's no risk. You start sending the darn thing back. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness. Okay. So one other thing that I wanted to touch on is that I understand that your capabilities are really from the truly individual interior designer who is working on a single room, all the way to hospitality designers that have to specify or are in the position to specify 2,000 chairs for a hotel or a commercial building that they are designing for. Is that the case?
Yeah, and as the program builds, especially in 2019, it's really a strong focus of ours to really play to what does our industry need? What do our trade partners need from the independent designer that works from their home and mainly does residential or smaller scale jobs, all the way up to large procurement and purchasing teams that some of them we already work with that spec product for major tech companies or national media partners and retailers. We really want to be able to cater to the market and offer tools and service and product that is going to allow us to be all-inclusive with the program. We recently completed a really fantastic multi-unit development in Amherst, 125 units. And it was a really fantastic experience. And the feedback from the developer was, wow. His lease rate before the project even had occupancy, had a 90% lease rate, and we fully furnished out every single unit from bedroom to living room to dining room. We did the full scope, so our capability is there.
Wow.
We can touch whatever corners of the market we need to, and we have the capabilities to do so. We have warehouses across North America, and we have the manpower to do it. So we're really excited about the upcoming year and about the direction of the program. But with that said, we want to make sure that our trade program members are feeling that personal touch, and that they know that just because they aren't this massive, they're not working on maybe the massive project today, that their house or their one chair that they're ordering is just as important to us.
I love it. I think it's so, there are times when I come across a company such as yours that just really hit that nerve, that you can hear it in everyone connected to the company. I've spoken to several members of your team over the last 7-8 months, and the passion that each of you bring to it, the commitment that each of you bring to it really is contagious. It's impressive. It's exciting. And I think that it's I don't specify furniture, but I know I would you go to article.com. I know that I would, because if the aesthetic fit a project that I was working on, the combination of your customer service, the combination, put that with the delivery and the samples and the ease of working with you and just sort of no hassle. I mean, I'm working with, some window treatment vendors for 36 years. And we just had a conversation with somebody yesterday. It took 4 conversations to get finally somebody to say, oh, okay, we'll take that motorized Roman shade back from you, Luann, because it's not working. I'm like, I have to have 4 conversations to get this done? Like, you got to be kidding me. Actually, Adriana had 3, and then I'm like, that's it. Give me the phone.
We want to avoid that experience.
Yeah, I just was aggravated listening to her all day, trying to accomplish this. And so I finally said, just get a supervisor and get me on the phone. I'm done. You're both pissing me off now. I love that I hear it in you, that you want to help. You want to be part of the team, not part of the problem.
My team has very strong conflict resolution, so they are very capable, but I always welcome anybody who wants to reach out to me directly. I love it. So
good.
I don't shy away at all.
Oh, man. It's awesome. Well, I really commend you guys for the work that you're doing. I'm so thrilled and delighted that you believe in the podcast and you've chosen to spend some marketing dollars from your company here at the podcast. And we have the thing is the URL for, of course, it's so funny because, of course, article.com. This is what I say to them every once in a while, too. Don't just go to article.com because then they won't know you came from here. You know what I mean? And, of course, I don't get any extra, but I'm trying to make sure that you as a company understand the value that you're getting. And so if you're listening and you are interested in the trade program and you just want to talk to Jillian or somebody in her team to understand, or there's any question that I left on the table that you're thinking, ask this, then go to welldesigned.article.com, welldesigned.article.com, and you could sign up for your trade program, and you can be in touch with all of these rock stars over there at Article who are just waiting and willing and wanting to help you make your life easier in this regard. I think it's awesome. Thank you so much, Jillian.
Thank you so much for having me on today. It's been fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.